edition of Beyond the Front Page program for the spring 28 semester here at QU Community College and broadcast on Spectrum, Verizon, Fios, and the Auburn Regional Media Access, ARMA, as well as Win 89.1, the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. Downtown Auburn has seen a resurgence in the last decade, and while downtowns and central business districts across the country have had tough times, Auburn's Business Improvement District has been working to keep this area thriving. We've asked their executive director of the Auburn Downtown Business Improvement District, Stephanie DeVito, to come on to talk to us about downtown, not only on what is going on there, where there's been some challenges and shifts in storefronts, as well as what's planned for the coming year and what she sees as the future of downtown in planning. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here.
Thanks.
So some basics for those people who don't pay attention to what the bid is, other than they see you do flower pots, you do events, and you're in the paper.
Sure.
So
Okay.
you do a monthly column and all of that.
Yep.
So when was the bid founded?
BID was founded probably just about close to 20 years ago.
Okay.
So the BID is a state-sanctioned organization, non-for-profit, and we are a district that is bound by boundaries.
So what's your boundary?
Yep.
What's your scope?
So going from west to east, it's the County Building and Plaza of the Arts is the cutoff, and then on the East Hill, it's the Goodyear Building.
Okay.
And then from north to south, we have the Holiday Inn, all the way up to Seward Park, just past City Hall. And everything that encompasses around the loop is the BID district.
And a bid district is a tax district.
It is a tax district, and the way it works is all the property owners within that district and that boundary line are assessed a tax every year, and that's how our revenue is generated.
And how much does somebody usually pay? Is it?
It's $3 per 1,000 on their assessed taxes.
So a $100,000 building, they pay $300.
Correct, with a $5,000 cap.
Oh, with a cap
Yes,
in there.
per
Okay.
property.
Per property.
Correct.
And do you have other sources of income that you have for the bid?
We do get a subsidiary through the city,
Okay.
which is basically supports our bid maintenance supervisor position that you see, that takes care of the flowers.
Really
and all the
early
snow.
at night or really
Early
late
in
at
the
night?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Early in the morning.
Early at
yeah,
night.
yeah.
And so you have a board.
Yes.
And how are they appointed?
They are appointed by actually the bylaws that we have.
Okay.
So, you know, there's certain classifications that we have to follow that are property owners, city officials, tenants.
So some are by title.
Correct.
And some have to be residential, some have to be
That is
commercial.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
and business owners as well.
And do they self-appoint?
No, we appoint them, and then of course we, bring
I'm
it.
sorry, the board picks their own members. They're not,
yes,
they're
yes.
not sent to you from
Correct.
outside.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. Yeah.
With the exception of maybe government will say this is who
Correct.
we're sending. How long have you been on the job?
Just about 2.5 years.
And before that you were with the Chamber of Commerce?
I was with the Chamber of Commerce. I was a communications coordinator there, so I kind of just moved up the street, not
Well,
far.
Up to the top of the T.
Exactly.
So how we started this conversation before you came on was we were talking about storefronts.
Yes.
Some coming in, some going out, some changing their name.
Yes.
So I thought what we would do is just go up the street.
Sure.
So obviously the one that everybody's talking about right now is the old PBJ on the corner.
Yes.
And that's something, what is Good Shepherd's?
So Good Shepherd's is a brewery, and
Okay.
they are currently on Loop Road.
So they're going to move from Loop.
They're moving to Loop over on the corner of William and Genesee Street, which is the PBJ building, as people know it.
And what are they going to put in there?
So actually, they're an expansion. So they're an existing business that have expanded, and they're going to be able to produce more beer, as well as I think they're going to have some light fare as far as food goes.
And do they serve food now?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. When are they? I know they've been fixing up the windows,
Yes.
and everybody for the longest time only saw paper.
Yes.
Or on the front, and I
Yep.
know the ladies at Boyle Center have been anxiously waiting to see what's going to be in there. They'll miss the dresses, but they would
Yes.
like to know what's going in. When will they open?
They are having a soft opening the weekend of March 18th, so it's right
they're
around.
next week.
Yes, they are next week. So they're still working hard in there, and it looks great.
So and this is a more global question for this.
Sure.
You have a number of bars downtown that have opened, a number of them that deal with beer. You've got somebody in the Genesee Plaza, you've got Prison City, you've got Good Shepherd, plus then you've got some other bars or places that sell alcohol like
Sure.
A.T. Wally's and whatnot, Swabbies. Do you get to a saturation point with breweries and alcohol establishments?
I don't think you can ever have too many, you know, and I think what you're starting to see is, for example, I'll use the next chapter that's going into the Genesee Mall. They, you know, they are coming in and realizing that there's a lot of breweries.
So I was going to ask you, what is the next chapter? I'm sorry.
The next chapter is also going to be another brewery.
Okay.
So they are moving into the Genesee Mall. They're renovating that right now.
And there's already somebody there now.
Thirsty Pug is there as well.
And they're staying there.
Yes, correct. Yep. So, you know, they're renovating that space now, and they're going to be a brewery as well. So, you know, they're going to focus on gluten-free beer as well. So that's something, you know, I don't believe that a lot of the other breweries have in downtown. You know, I'm not positive on that. So they're going to...
They're looking for a niche.
Yeah, they're looking for a niche. They're going to try to do something different. And what I find, which is really great, even though we have a lot of breweries in town, a lot of them all partner together, you know, and that just goes to show, too, when we have events, everybody comes together, they work together, and they try to do something that will complement each other that's different. So I think for right now, and as you see, my gosh, nationwide, definitely in our state, craft brewery is really booming.
Well, the governor's pushing it.
Absolutely, you know, so it brings in tourism.
So maybe it's not necessarily an issue of too many, but do you need to get that also, that mix of retail, which is the bigger challenge?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
Food and alcohol tend to be an easier, whether they stay or not, that's a different issue.
Right.
But it's getting that mix.
Absolutely. You have to have a balance, because let's face it, you know, you have somebody come down, they go for lunch, right? Then what they want to do, they want to go shop, or vice versa. And if they're going to spend a weekend, you know, in our downtown, you have to have plenty of things to offer them. So, you know, they do go hand in hand, and we are continuously trying to generate retail into downtown.
Is that a tough sell for you?
It is tough, but I think it's tough everywhere. It's a tough market to kind of crack into.
So you've got one store that was the Auburn Co-op, then it became the Auburn Arts Council. I hope I'm getting their names correctly. And now it's going to be called something called Regenerations.
Regenerations.
And what's that?
So they're going to rebrand, and what they're going to do.
This is Sue Waby?
Yes, this is Sue Waby. So we're very excited for her. It's going to be something totally different. I mean, she's done a terrific job with the businesses that she's had, but she's trying to rebrand and do something different that's going to attract people in with like furniture. You know, people who may have antique furniture, or maybe they have a piece of furniture.
Repurposing.
Exactly, repurposing furniture. Artists that maybe create and paint on furniture. So that's what that business is going to be.
And she's been a big, I mean, obviously she's done the Downtown Ducks and all the cool books that we've had around a couple of times on that. But she's also about bringing arts downtown.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's still part of her mission.
And that's still part of her mission. In my understanding, she's still going to have her art classes and all. She's just rebranding and trying to do something different.
And they do art and wine, speaking of alcohol, don't they?
I believe so,
okay.
Yes. I'm not positive, but I think so.
Am I correct, next door is going to be Rudolph's Sweet Shop?
It is.
Okay, so I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
So I might not be a drinker, but but he's made by sweets.
You
So what
like
exactly?
sweets.
What exactly?
So that
my dentist does not think that's a good idea, but.
So that will range from ice cream to possible donuts to different types of candies. And the last I heard is they're looking to open up in the spring sometime. I think they're doing some work in there now.
So you may have that open up before summer even starts.
Yes, I'm very hopeful that it will be.
And are there apartments above that, or is that workspace?
There are, yes. There are apartments above there, and I think eventually, you know, that'll get repurposed into a multi-purpose building at some point. Just not sure exactly what that top floor is going to look like.
And you have, I skipped one, you're next to at the old Servos, you have an attorney who has just moved in.
Yes.
And he's moving from the Phoenix building down to.
Yep. Right next door to us in the old Servos building. So that is, they're all moved in.
He's done a major renovation.
Complete renovation of that.
Okay.
The entire building, I want to say, almost was gutted and completely repurposed.
Genesee Mall, you mentioned next chapter. Obviously, there's been some shifts in that building.
Yes.
We've got the pizza place on the corner, or almost the corner right now.
Yep.
Wild has moved up
They
front.
moved up on South Street, but and they have two entrances. So they have South Street as well as still the Genesee Mall entrance.
And is that mall pretty full?
It's getting pretty full.
Okay, because I know there's a toy shop that moved from where to where, I think from Wheatsport to the Finger Lakes Mall to Genesee Mall, correct?
So that's in there. We still have the Mind Escapes in there. I believe the space that Wild for Yogurt was in is still available, is my understanding. But other than that, it's pretty occupied.
Going up the street again,
Yep.
And I'll skip one particular building, but you've also had some repointing and work done on the Phoenix building, on the clock tower.
The clock tower.
Which is starting to look really great.
Yeah, it does look great.
That's a great centerpiece. You had a new barber shop.
Yes.
Move in next door to
flawless.
there. You've got ABC Cayuga, moved into the old HSBC or the Marine Midland, the bunker building. And then obviously you've got banks there and whatnot. What's going on with the Nolan's block, which is the remainder of that?
My understanding at those parcels there that they are taken.
Okay.
And I think you probably recall several months ago there was an article in the Citizen.
And this is Grant Kyle and Kyle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And 2 of those parcels are going to be taken by the Octane Coffee Shop. So that's supposed to be implemented into downtown within the next year.
And what is Octane Coffee?
Octane Coffee Shop. It's going to be like a high-end coffee shop, and I think they might even have some books in there, music. That's going to go in the 2 parcels right kind of down the end of the Nolan block by the Pond King.
And then farther down, you did have a setback next to Hunter's Diner. You had some storefronts in what was the Picarillo's building and Auburn floor covering. Where did they go? One moved to a different location. What happened?
Well, we had Envy and Encore there, and that's the building that is vacant now.
Okay.
So what they did is actually Weston Company and Envy and Encore, you know, they got to know one another, and they actually partnered together because they were a men and women's clothing store, Weston Company obviously being jewelry. So they've actually partnered together and opened up a storefront in the Ithaca Mall.
And Weston is still in.
Oh, West is still there. Yep,
Okay.
Weston Company is still there. So we are looking for space, you know, for
Okay.
somebody to occupy that space.
And then up. And do you actively help recruit?
We do.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
part of
absolutely.
That's
Yep.
part of the bid's job is to
Yes.
find the right.
Yep, try to find, you know, people to bring them into downtown, meet with them. I have people constantly saying, I'm looking for space, you know, this is what my requirements are, this is what I'm looking
Also,
for.
I'm thinking have people tell you what you should be doing too.
Oh, yes, all the time. I can't step out my front door without somebody telling me.
So you've had on the corner of Seminary, you have Metro PC that just
Yes.
opened up. I had to look them up online because while I most likely have paid attention to the ads, I haven't paid attention. What are they?
They're a cell phone store. So they were on Grant Ave,
Okay. So
where they
they've
were
moved-
by Wendy's. So they actually moved downtown, and it's
So
only
that's
been
kind of
about
a
a week.
reversal because there's always been the thought, well, people move from
Yes.
downtown out to Grand Ave. You've got one that's gone the reverse
And
way.
it's funny because you know what? We've had several people that say that are on Grand Ave that I've gotten calls about. Do you have space for us? They want to move downtown. So
It's
that
just putting
does
the deal
happen.
together.
Yeah, absolutely. And finding the right space for
So
them.
going up the hill, it was for the Auburn Education Foundation had a fundraiser, and I got to spend the first time ever. They had a
Gobble and Go.
Gobble and Go.
Yep.
I went to Lori's Popcorn Shop, and it was
Yes.
there in the fall. Then it kind of mothballed, and they're going to be back open Tuesday.
They're going to be open on March 13th.
Okay.
Yep. So that's Tuesday. So they just close for the winter months, just because during the winter, you know, there's not a lot of people navigating, you know, the streets.
And there are all
up-
types of flavors.
Exactly,
And
yes.
it's delicious.
Oh,
stuff.
it's very good. You can get peanut butter and jelly popcorn. You can get really any kind of flavor you'd like. And I believe, you know, if you request a flavor, they'll try to even make that for you. So they are opening up March 13th.
So you've had some successes in some of the businesses you've got. You've got some shifting, you've got some rebranding there. You're also going to have a major project right in the middle of your downtown. You got the reconstruction of Genesee Street.
Correct.
When does that start?
That's actually started now. I mean, they're kind of doing a little bit of work. They've started in March, but fully it will start heavily
And
in
I know
July.
I happen to be downtown this afternoon, and they're marking out spots and.
Yes, and that's why they have started already, so
Okay.
there is activity with that.
What exactly are they going to be doing?
They're going to be paving Genesee Street.
From where to where?
I believe it's from James to all the way up to John.
So it's right in the middle of
it's
your.
right in the heart of downtown, correct.
When will they finish?
I believe by October they're supposed to be finished.
So this is a length of a project. It's most likely, what is it, about a mile and a half?
Yes.
Okay, and will that shut down parts of downtown? Or are they
It's
going
not
to do
gonna-
one line at a time?
Yes, it's not going to completely shut downtown, and we work very closely with them. So they have a schedule of all our events, everything that is happening downtown. So they're really mindful of trying to do the work.
Because you have some major events, and we'll talk about that. You're going to have Major
yeah.
Palooza, Tomato Fest, Sizzling Summer.
Summer Sizzling.
Summer Sizzling. You're going to have Founders Day, all
Founders
that.
Day, yep.
So with the reconstruction comes something that a number of people are not prepared for, and that is the new parking system, which will be pull-in, where we've used pull-in. You're going, not you, but the city, to take the money, as I understand it, have to go to a backing-in parking system. Am I correct on that?
That is correct.
When will that start?
Well, I'm still waiting for the exact date and
that is not
exactly
something the
what's
bid
happening.
by the way, is the bid supportive of this?
I am not supportive of,
Okay.
of that, no.
From a safety, from a parking spot?
From strictly a safety standpoint, in my mind only, I think that it'll cause a lot of problems. So I'm not supportive of that. But just as I say that I'm not supportive of that,
You have to deal with it.
we have to deal with it. And the way we work around that is through education, awareness, and to make it positive if we're mandated to do it by
So
the
the
state.
only alternative, as I understood it, was you could get rid of pull-in parking. You could go to parallel
We had to
parking.
have parallel parking, which we lose an awful lot of parking
And
spaces.
is that worse?
Well, it's.
And do you have any idea how many spots you would have lost?
I don't recall how many spots that we would
thought I heard
lose.
39 at
You know
one
what? I
point.
was just going to say, I think it's in the 30s.
Okay.
So from that standpoint alone, I'm not necessarily sure that it's a safety issue, having their parallel parking, because we do have that, obviously, on
In
East
some
Hill.
parts of it, you're right.
Exactly. But we would lose a tremendous amount of parking spaces by shifting to that. So.
And obviously, there's some other parking issues we'll get to in a second. But as far as you're concerned, because you're on the backside of, roughly on the backside of it, is garage use up now because you've lost the Seward? I call it the Seward lot, but the one across from City Hall. Is parking in the garage up as far as using?
it's yes, very much
Okay.
so. And it's
Which is a good thing.
Oh, it's a terrific thing because we've been heavily promoting, for people to go into the parking garage. And I hear it on a daily basis. People will say, I've got to be honest with you, I was really reluctant to go into the parking garage. But once I did it a couple of times, I really like it. They have the 2-hour free parking, which was great, which was approved by the mayor and city council. They're very supportive of that. So people like that. They also don't have to clean off the snow in their car in the wintertime. And
So they can park anywhere other than that lot that's
than-
closest to the Auburn Public
Correct,
Theater.
yes.
They can park in the garage. They don't have to. It used to be when you wanted to have the cheaper parking, you had to go up to the garage, which
No.
you could be anywhere. Okay.
It's anywhere except, like you mentioned, that real lower level.
So across from the garage, so we're kind of going around the city,
Yep.
or around the bid. Where there's the Equal Rights Heritage Center, which does not flow off the tongue very well as of yet. Where are they on the construction of that project?
I believe they just laid the foundation, I believe yesterday.
Okay.
So I was out of the office most of the day today, so I don't know what they have done today, but they're plugging right along. I mean, they were ahead of schedule, and then the snow kind of put them.
When do you think they'll be finished?
The anticipation is by October.
So you see that, I read your column the other day, maybe it was 2 columns ago, you see this as a net plus.
Absolutely.
Why?
It's a tourism center that's going to be a regional tourism center. We're a destination, and that's certainly what we want to be, right? We focus on.
So whether it's for the restaurants, it's Seward House, Harriet Tubman,
Absolutely.
Auburn Public Theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You can go into the tourism center, and anybody coming in from the community or as a visitor, they'll be able to come in there and get any sort of information in regards to all the historical and cultural sites, the museums, the entertainment that we have in our area, the wineries, anything that's in the city, anything that is in the county is going to be widely available to them. They'll be able to access brochures. They'll be able to go in the Equal Rights Heritage Center and have an interactive kind of experience if they'd like. Go to the Harriet Tubman Interactive Corner, see what you might be able to see up at the Harriet Tubman home and eventually the Harriet Tubman National Park. So
do we have a parking problem?
In my mind, absolutely not.
Okay.
I
asked
say
that because
all
I
the
don't
time.
seem to have. Now, if I want to park in front of where I want to walk in, then I do have a parking problem.
That is correct.
But there seems to be net. Tell me if I'm wrong on that. Net, you have more spaces than you still need, even with losing the Seward lot. Some people may just have to walk farther.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, so as we're taking a tour around the city, right? So we have the parking garage. We have the Court Street expansion that is going to be available for folks that, could.
How many extra spots will go
There's going to be, I think, like 30 some spots in
Okay.
there. So, there's going to be quite a few spots in the Court Street expansion. We have the parking garage.
That won't make up for all the spots lost.
Not
so-
all, but a good portion of
Okay.
them. And the city worked really hard to try to make sure they could, keep as many spots as they could. We certainly have all the other city lots. We have the Lattimore Dill lot that is on the loop on Dill Street.
That's Lattimore Hall.
That's
and-
Lattimore Hall. We have the Seminary parking lot. And then, if you notice, going down the Nolan block by Wegmans, yes, again, you'd have to walk a little bit. But if you look at those parking spaces down there, they're empty most of the day.
Speaking of that, there were some changes in parking about overnight parking.
Yes.
Where is that covered, and how long does that go for?
That's already been implemented.
Okay.
But what people don't realize that there was already an overnight parking ban in place.
Okay.
So this is just only an
And where does
additional
that ban
hour.
go from
that
where to
that
where?
is from James all the way up to John Street again.
Okay, but now it seems like because they're enforcing it, snow removal has been much easier.
Oh, it's been a huge
I mean,
difference.
I'm looking.
Oh, definitely.
I tend to drive in the city late at night if I'm going across town, and
Sure.
I notice that there are city crews out there, but without cars in the way at night. Has that solved Hunter's Dinerette's problem?
Yes, it has helped them tremendously. And, and again, you go back to...
And they were the main group pushing for a lot of that discussion.
Sure. And, and it was true. There was a lot of folks that would leave their car over the entire weekend. And especially with snow removal, it's a hazard. I mean, people trying to climb over the snow banks, and now, DPW has done a great job at trying to get close to the curb, and we've had a lot of compliments on it, that they're very happy with the overnight ban that way in reference to the snow
And just back
removal.
to Court Street for a second.
Sure.
I know there were a number of businesses and residents. They're in the bid, am I correct, on Court Street?
Court Street, no, they are not.
So it stops really over by
Yeah.
the county office.
Yeah,
It kind
it's- I was going to say, when
it's
you look at the
gerrymandered
boundary,
very
exactly,
interesting. Okay.
yes, yeah.
Are they happy
Are they happy?
with what's
the folks
being
on,
done at Court Street lot? Does it solve some of their concerns, or you still think that's going to be an issue?
I don't think it's going to be an issue anymore. I do know that some of the concerns that the Court Street folks have had have been addressed, and I think that they've been solved and taken care of.
Last big project for downtown right now that
Sure.
we'll talk about today, status of the SHINE Theater.
SHINE Theater, obviously there's a new roof on there, and the last I heard is that obviously all the asbestos is removed, and that they were going to start working on the Havoc system inside. So
They've received some city and some state funds. Are you privy to their fundraising efforts, or is that
I don't.
outside your-
I don't know. Specifically exactly what they're doing. So
I know you've also. Do you think they can get this project done in the next 2 or 3 years?
I do, because I think they've really come an awful long way, and so I.
But they don't have a completion date that they've announced.
Not that I'm aware
And I know
of,
we had them
no.
on. I think in the fall. So you started a gift certificate program.
Yes,
on
we
Valentine's
did.
Day.
We did.
What is it?
So it's the Auburn Downtown Gift Certificate Program, and
And it was not just. I know it said Valentine's in the press release. It's beyond Valentine's
oh
Day.
yes,
Okay.
yes, no, it was just kind of like implemented. It was the kickoff for Valentine's Day.
So people can go online. They can come down to the office. What number are you, Genesee?
We are 128 Genesee Street. Yep, you can get them online. You can pay with a credit card through PayPal.
And these are good for 5 years, and you can use them. Is it 40 businesses?
Yep, there's 40 businesses, and they're listed on the back of the gift certificate. And so we're very, very excited about it. And I do have to give a great big thank you to Joan Quill, because it was her idea that she.
Mary Quill's
Yes,
wife.
Mary
Okay.
Quill's wife, and it was her idea that got it up and running.
So is
we
it
thank her.
restaurants, retail?
Restaurants,
you can't
retail,
use it for
entertainment.
tips, but you can use it for food
Correct.
or products or whatever.
Yes, Yes.
Is Wegmans participating?
Yes,
Okay.
Wegmans is
so you can go in
participating.
there and
Absolutely.
and you redeem them by just going in and.
Yeah, just like a normal gift certificate works. You go to Parker's, let's say.
So they're not
and
in a particular denomination. It's from $5 to $500.
25 to 500.
Okay. The other, I did. Why'd you do that, by the way? Why do the gift certificates?
Well, because we had a lot of interest, and you know, what I was finding is that a lot of people were going down to Skinny Atlas, and they were purchasing gift certificates in Skinny Atlas and then redeeming them in Auburn.
Wow.
So I'm thinking that's great, but let's
So
have
Skinny
them in
Atlas is
Auburn.
selling them for use in Auburn.
Yeah, well, because they have a lot of participants in their program there, and a lot of them happen to be in Auburn. So I said, let's try to generate revenue here. It's not a moneymaker or a fundraiser for the bid. It's strictly to bring revenue to the businesses and into the city and into downtown.
All right, let's quickly get
Sure.
about 2-3 minutes, talk about events. You're hosting Major Palooza again?
Yes.
Downtown. When is that?
Major Palooza is the Sunday Memorial Day weekend.
Any changes in the format from before?
Nope, everything.
I could have asked the guest who was here a few minutes ago.
Yeah, no, everything is like it normally is.
Okay.
And then we have the food truck rodeo on Memorial Day, as well as the Memorial Day parade.
And the Duck Derby.
And the Duck Derby.
And then you have Summer Sizzling in June.
Summer Sizzling is in June,
And
which
what
is the
is that?
city. It's the city's summer kickoff event.
Okay.
So that'll be downtown.
Is that it's a weekend? Is that
Yep.
2 days or 1 day?
Yep, 1 day.
Okay.
Yep. So that'll
Food
be
vendors.
Yep.
Music, entertainment.
Yep.
Founders Day still in August.
Founders Day is August 11th. That's correct.
Any theme?
Yes, we're doing an ethnic festival,
Okay.
as well as we're highlighting a whole section of Founders Day for public safety and first responders.
And will you still be doing a car show?
Yes, car
Okay.
show, we have the motorcycle bike show, and then I also want to add we have the Blueprint 2 Kids Carnival that is going to be in Market Street Park that is new this year that I've been running an event with them.
Okay,
So,
and I know you've been meeting with them on
Yep.
a regular basis.
Mhm.
And we might have time to get to that. You're going to end summer with Tomato Fest?
Tomato Fest, correct?
And any changes on that format?
No.
And just a quick question. We get a question when we said you're going to. Why wasn't Ignite the Winter down in Exchange Street besides cold weather?
I was just going to say, strictly, I think the decision was made because of the weather, and thankfully they had it inside because, as you know, last Friday we had that major snowstorm,
bit. It
and
was
that
perfect.
would have been Ignite the Winter, but
Pro-
fourth year in a row.
Prove the point.
Yeah,
So I know I should be thinking spring. And
flowers.
And flowers. Flower Power program starts when?
Actually, the fundraising will kick off next
So
week.
this is a fundraiser.
Yep.
Okay.
So that'll start next week, and it'll be a fundraiser for the flowers, all the lights that you see on the poles to help maintain them, and
And how do people participate?
a lot of people will be getting a card in the mail, and then they can send that into the bid office. They can certainly come and pick up information
But
sheet.
you don't have to be from downtown to participate.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And a matter of fact, we get a lot of participants from outside of downtown that donate to the flowers.
And when will the plants be in and all that?
They will be in a couple days before Memorial Day. So by Memorial Day, everything will be all up and running for summer with the flowers.
And spring will be here.
Absolutely.
Our guest has been, and we didn't get to cover everything. We hope you'll come back on
Yes,
to talk
definitely.
to us, as you've done in the past. Has been Auburn Downtown Business Improvement Executive Director Stephanie DeVito to give us a downtown update. We will be off next week as students do some coursework, and we'll return on Tuesday, March 20th, and we'll have 2 inside government programs. The first will be with City Manager Jeff Dygert. Something tells me we're going to talk about parking.
I'm sure.
And then he's going to give a city update, and then we're going to have Owasco Town Supervisor Ed Wagner and County Planning Director Steve Lynch to talk about the Owasco watershed and its inspection program. But we do want to thank Stephanie DeVito for joining us. If you have some thoughts for future shows, you can send your questions and ideas to cozguytho@aol.com, or Inside Government, or be on the front page at 141 Dunning Avenue, Auburn, New York. I'm Guy Cosentino for QU Community College. We want to thank you for watching. We hope you have a good night, have a great tomorrow, and we'll see you back here in about 10 days.